Okay, so you're single now, and as you sit in your car or couch, you contemplate your life. You have so many unanswered questions. What's your life going to turn out to be? All that investment, hope, hard work, patience, it all went to Hades. Your life, how's it going to look like now? You begin to question who you are, your purpose, your future, and even if you'll ever find someone nearly as good and as beautiful as the woman that you married. So 50% of men, they join a dating app within 3 months of their separation. Let's say that's you. If you've been together for over a decade, first thing that you're going to notice is just how different, how very different the scene is. For starters, online dating sites, they're a commonplace. They're a commonplace among single adults. Now it's all kinds of people from all social circles. So if you're not doing it, you're most likely the exception rather than the rule. In fact, 20% of today's couples getting married, they met online. That number's expected to increase by 50% over the next 10 years. Online dating is now a $4 billion industry, and it's bigger than porn. The demographics of those that you'll be dating will be different also. They won't be never married people, but first or even second time divorced ladies, usually with kids. And if you're in your mid 40s and above, don't be surprised when you get an invitation from a grandmother. And I tell you, they don't look like the stereotypical grandmothers. In other words, they do not look like this anymore. You'll also notice that if you're in your 40s and divorced, it's not a red flag. To the contrary, it shows stability. It's the never married people that have a bigger red flag. So whatever you do, don't be apologetic about being divorced. And here I thought that people went into speed dates. Seriously, that's what I thought. Second, the market is changed, Jens. The days of trying to impress Cindy only to hear from her that she's waiting for a chat to ask her out and you're second in line, they're few. Kiss those days goodbye. The market has turned and it's gotten closer to our side, towards our favor, at a huge risk of getting my social media ass handed to me. I'm not a big fan of Red Pill leader and author Rollo Tomassi, primarily because he blames women, he blames society, he blames just about everyone else. But change, it begins with us and not society. And he has little accountability to how us as men, how we must evolve. You can try to change society, but first, we must begin with ourselves. In his writings, I've yet to read anything about accountability, and it's all about victimization, all while claiming to have the alpha traits. Much of his reading is on victimization, and that's hardly an alpha move. But don't get me wrong, when I was going through my own hell, he did help me. He helped me make sense of what was going on, and he got me angry. But like a TED Talk. It was full of features, but there was no practical use at the end. I suppose a little part of me, I just wanted to cover the how-to, not with mental games in which he writes about, but with growth and with self-realization rather than victimization. But I do take a pragmatic point of view in his writings, and the dude's a great writer. For instance, he studied over 3,000 Canadian men and women to determine what's their sexual market value. In other words, just how much the opposite sex wants to breed with them. Or in other words, their desirable level to the opposite sex. And according to Rollo, a female's sexual market value, it peaks at around 23 and then it just plummets. It drops faster than a girl's dress at the after prom. According to him, by 38, women have virtually zero sexual market value. But check out the men at 38. I mean, we're on top of the mountain. Men, we have it going on. 45 to 55, but for the ladies, it's virtually non-existent. Game over. Ironically, 38, it's the average age of the divorced guys that I coach. So imagine how sweet it is for them to enter their single life at the peak of their sexual market value. Well, the female sexual market value, it's minimal and virtually non-existent at 45 and older. There are many problems with this hypothesis, mainly because, well, I don't know what specific parameters he uses in this to determine the sexual market value. If it is strictly childbearing, then he's 100% correct. I mean, a 50-year-old cannot compete, and then again, neither can I. I mean, I joined the V Club. It's really hard to believe that a 45-year-old female, though, that she has a sexual market value of almost nothing. So I suppose companionship, a warm body, a caring person, and even employment status were not taken into consideration. So Rollo, he's partially correct. Guys do get hotter as they age, while women, they unfortunately don't. I like this graph better. What you're looking at was a study conducted by OkCupid. They did one of the largest, most massive online surveys ever conducted on the internet with over 500,000 participants. In this graph, OkCupid look at the amount of messages that men and women receive according to their age. This is hard data, non-subjective, hard to argue with because it is the facts. According to OkCupid, by 26, men and women, they begin receiving the same amount of messages. But women's messages, they drastically decrease after the age of 26. By the time we reach 48 men, we are officially receiving 2 times more messages than the women do. So the numbers, they are on our side. Here's the thing. You and your wife meet when you're both 26. The average guy that I coach has been with his wife for about 12 years and they start their divorce at around 38. I mean, my demographics exactly match those of OkCupid's graph. Strange, coincidence, or fate? You know what Einstein said about a coincidence? That it's God's way of remaining anonymous. Now, 70% of the time, the woman feels unhappy in their marriage and they want the divorce. The man, they typically, because this is all that they know, they think that their life, it's over.
Au contraire, mon frère.
Depending on how you look at it, it's just the beginning. And if you wanted to, this chapter in your life, the new life, has the potential to be the best part of your life. The surprise chapter of the book, if you will. What your wife, what she doesn't know is that she's asking for a divorce at the worst possible time in her very own adult life. According to Rollo, men, you are at your peak age where women find men the sexiest, and according to OkCupid, you're going to be receiving 10% more messages than your new ex-wife. When I'm about to tell you, I've studied, I've seen it, I've lived it, so I could hold my feet and hand to the fire on this. If your ex thinks that she can do better, she's in for a very unfortunate surprise, and disappointment will quickly set in. She'll get dates, but by now, most of the guys were only too keenly aware that our stock, it went up. So we go out with the ladies, but it's like a kid at an all-you-can-eat candy store. You pick a Kit Kat, eat it, not finish it, then go to Nestle's Crunch, take a bite, not finish it, then you want some Ferrero Rocher. Then there comes a point where you're tired of the sampling, make up your mind and just want Ferrero Rocher, so you stick to them and then you commit to Ferrero Rocher. Meanwhile, you got Kit Kat and Nestle's thinking, what the fuck? Get resentful, and then when it's the next guy to date them, in comes Caramel M&M to compete with Nestle's and Kit Kat. Many women now they have a guard up and they have a hard time trusting men. And the phrase, I've been hurt before, it's commonly heard as you think. Shit, we've all been hurt before. That's not a reason to be guarded. But they go out and compete with the M&M until one of the guys pick one of the 3 chocolates and the cycle continues. So what happens as the female gets bitter and angry on online dating? So unless there's a big discrepancy on your looks between you and your ex-wife, chances are that you're going to get much more texting than she will. She'll get dates, but unfortunately often these dates, they turn into something meaningless. Moral of the story, I can assure you that she'll think, damn, dating got hard. Unfortunately, men, we have a similar story, but it's for different reasons. The dating pool for guys should be large, but we as men, we're just not doing it correctly. I did a recent study where I looked at men at different times of their separation, and I graphed them against their success in dating. Top of the graph are men that are recently separated from 0 to 3 months, and the bottom portion are the men that are separated for 2 or more years. The green and the blue in the graph, that means the percent of men that are having a difficult time dating versus the peach and the light blue where the guys are having success in dating. The yellow represents the undecided group. As you can see, 38% of the men that are separated 2 or more years, they had a difficult time dating. 25% of the men recently separated, they're having a difficult time dating. So 38 long-term versus 25 newly single men. So one doesn't necessarily get better at dating as time goes by. But that said, nearly 50% of guys separated after 2 years, they said that dating is something that they're enjoying, and 21% of the newly separated men said they're enjoying it. What changes most is their thoughts about online dating from indifferent to either enjoying it or not enjoying it. Thing is, you ask a guy about online dating and you're going to get so many different answers. A lot of them are going to be from naysayers. What typically happens is a guy will take an obvious selfie at a whim, thinking that as long as they got a great smile, they're going to get likes. They go through their Instagram and Facebook, pick a picture, crop out their friends or even their ex-wife and put it on their dating profile only because they like the picture. 30 minutes later, their profile is done and wait to get likes. And they get likes, but they get likes from the same type of girls or medium caliber girls. So then men complain that it's bullshit and they tap out. With all humility and sincerity, if you're not having success on online dating, don't blame the system. You have to ask what you're doing wrong. I do this with my clients all the time. I see that what their pictures are pretty, and many of their pictures they just don't have a variety to choose from. Data shows that the average guy, they spend 22 hours on a dating app to make a single date, and a third of the guys will just up and quit without getting a date. Now, with the market stacked in our favor, you owe it to yourself to date people that you deserve. I did a quality of life survey on men at different points in their divorce and looked into many parameters, including physical activity, if they were dating, and included was if they were having success in dating. Of the men who are having a hard time dating, their quality of life was 51. FYI, the average for the divorced guy is 63, so they were one standard deviation below the average male. On the other hand, the quality life of those who are having a good time dating, it was 80. That's a 29-point difference between those that are not versus those that are having success in dating. 2 standard deviations. So the most noticeable difference seen in the quality of life amongst divorced men, it wasn't the more money they were making, it wasn't even dating, nor was it the relationship with their children, nor even if they exercise. It was their success in dating. When I first got out into the dating world, I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't think that I had that magnetism. My ex made it clear to me that I was boring, that I was old, and despite that my success, she made it clear to me that I was a loser, that nobody would want me. So imagine to my relief when the first person I met, she says to me that I look much younger in real life than I do in my pictures. From then I knew that I was going to be okay. One might argue that all I'm asking for is validation and that I need someone to tell me my value. Probably, but then again, probably not. I mean, I was broken, I was scared to be alone. She made me believe that I was a nobody and that I had nothing. My fear was that I was going to be and I was going to stay alone, and that I would never find someone to treat me as well as her, because somehow incredibly, despite the insults, emasculation, stealing of money, and the fact that she was sitting on Chad's face for over 2 years, she somehow incredibly made me believe that she was a good spouse, that I was the one that blew it. So I was as scared as you guys. But she was right. To my knowledge, I never found anyone like her. Instead, I found people that were a much better caliber. And that's the point. And that's when I realized that I was not going to be alone if I didn't want to. I saw that I was going to be okay, and that actually boring and old are 2 adjectives that don't apply to me. So yes, because of that alone, my quality of life, it increased tremendously. Again, not because I needed to have someone, but because my confidence grew like a motherfucker. Because I stopped second guessing who I was. Because I learned to trust myself. Because that's when I knew I was going to be okay. As a divorce coach, I'm a huge advocate that recently divorced men, that they should date when ready. And I help them with the tools at their disposal so that they look hot. Not handsome, not adorable, but hot. So I work with you on your pictures, give you suggestions of what to wear, and even go virtual shopping. So when they put up that beautiful profile, the girl says, "Oh la la." But I do recommend that they do date casually for at least 2 years and stay away from a committed relationship. But good luck with that one, because I don't know if it's a selling point, but 100% of my attrition, 100%, has been because the men, they found a significant other. Someone better, someone hotter, someone nicer, someone that's all of the above. And that's the point, I suppose. It's just much, much easier. You'll date much, much better. Your quality of life will improve, not because you need someone, but because you know that if you wanted to, you have every capability of finding your Ferrero Rocher. In closing, whether online dating or meeting organically, you gotta know your value. And chances are that you undervalue your worth. Go out there and prepare to meet your bebecita. Always dress 1 grade higher than the average person, because you owe it to yourself. You're single now. Join our badass Facebook group. The link is in the comment section underneath. And in a second, you're going to see this logo right here. It's going to be in the lower left of your screen. Join it to make an appointment. It's free, and you need a trained ear to listen to you. Should you join my program, Medico, preliminary data, and I stress it's preliminary, it shows an increase in quality of life from 55 to 78. That's an incredible feat because the program's only been out for less than a year. 23-point difference. My coaching isn't strictly about dating. It's far from it. It's a holistic approach to make you find your balls, to have you have more balls than Chuck Norris. But you have to make an appointment because believe me, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think that I was the best. Oh, and one last thing. Since you listened to this for, gosh, nearly 20 minutes, if I kept you entertained and you learned something or had ideas, give me a freaking like. And see that number right here? Turn that into 5,000 by subscribing. My goal is to have 5,000 by the end of this year. That way I could do a live stream. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Thank you very much.
I'ma wake up, do damage. Join number 7 sport. Working on 90.
Beta. Alpha. Okay. I know what you're doing. You're subscribing, right? Right?